First thing that comes to mind is the Light the World campaign and slogan for the university, the idea that a university and its mission to research, to teach, to educate is in service to making the world better for not just our students, but for the broader communities, Boston, national and international, that we're a part of. Open access seems to connect very nicely to that larger institutional value, the idea that the work that we're doing here as students, as faculty, across our departments, across the schools, holds the power to make a difference in the lives of people all across the globe. Open access seems to encourage those best aspects of Jesuit higher education. Boston College, more than many private universities, has long been alert to our public responsibilities, the ways in which we have obligations to constituents, not just among alumni, students, and families, but a broader-based public, not just because of federal funding, but our commitments here in the Boston area, across the United States. There's a feeling that we have to give back, that the value of an education is best measured by the way in which we move it, pass it along to others, and make a difference in the lives of those off campus. I think that BC, many of our research programs, both in arts and sciences and the professional schools, are dedicated to changing people's lives, to reaching out to communities, individuals, families that are struggling. I think that the possibilities of open access and bringing the light of the university and our research enterprise to attacking, to remedying some of the most endemic social problems is one of the things that most excites me about the open access movement of the last few years. I know myself as a historian, but many colleagues around arts and sciences, the last few years as open access has accelerated around the world, there have been many more interesting, unexpected connections, people reaching out to you via email, people running into you at conferences who've come across our work in different forums than previously would have been possible. I think it's a great opportunity for our own researchers, our best world-class researchers across the A&S departments, to have an impact in their fields and in the broader public conversation. At the same time, it opens up so many possibilities for our faculty researchers, and I'd say even more so for our graduate students and undergraduates, the kind of access they have at the frontiers of knowledge, things that when I was a graduate student, not even 20 years ago, we would have had to wait months, if not years, to have access to new ideas coming along. For me in the field of urban history, now students can get in real time the best possible information, and open access has made this a particularly exciting and productive time to be a scholar, whether you're a first-year undergraduate or endowed chairholder. I think open access fits very nicely with the larger approach, not just in the various schools and colleges with the provost's leadership, but also in the university library with University Librarian Tom Wall, to think about ways that we can highlight our collections to signal that BC has long been a leading research center and a place where you can find some remarkable scholarship, some of the best collections that you might find over in the Burns Library in Rare Books and Archives with our manuscript collections. There are so many ways in which we are setting about to let the world know just what's going on campus, and open access only reinforces that move outward, that reach to a set of different publics. I think it's certainly quite desirable. I think that more than anything else, this is a challenge for us to educate faculty, especially younger faculty who are transitioning from graduate school and onto the tenure track and through the first years of their career. There's a certain vulnerability and defensiveness, understandable, in the minds of junior faculty researchers who are just emerging, and they don't fully understand their rights. And in most cases, I think my own as well, when I was first coming on as a writer, will sign over rights simply because the promise of getting something published, of adding a line to one's CV, is the highest and in some ways the only priority with scholarship early in a career. I think that the university librarians have done a wonderful job in the last few years of reaching out to faculty, explaining to colleagues exactly what are the rights of scholars, just what many of our publishers and academic journals are willing to do. It's eye-opening, I think, for many scholars. I know for myself, it was great to come away a bit empowered about what is possible and what many publishers are willing to do. Here I'll fall back upon my identity as a U.S. historian, someone who's really interested, especially in the 19th century, but our political origins. And in a lot of ways, this moment of open access, encouragement by the government, strikes me as part of at least the Jeffersonian project, but really the Enlightenment project of the 18th century. One of my favorite places in the world is the Library of Congress, and that kind of vision of that central national library that would serve as a foundation to our public sphere, but open up access to all the citizens who could make their way to Washington, D.C. in the late 18th, early 19th century. I think that the government encouraging, and in some cases now requiring, open access taps into an important current of early American history, that the pursuit of knowledge was to be democratized, that the genius of the American experiment in the late 18th century, again, best exemplified in some ways by Jefferson and his life of the mind, was to bring the best ideas in science, but across all the fields in the arts and sciences, to the widest possible public, that the progress of mankind, the pursuit of happiness, kind of the national interest, was best served with the widest dissemination of ideas. I think that across arts and sciences there's greater, and in some cases lesser, enthusiasm for the project of open access, and that's understandable. It's a brave new world that we've entered into, and we're all trying to navigate our way through. I think it's essential that activities like Open Access Week, the kinds of public fora, conversations, films like this, that we take advantage of opportunities to reach out to faculty, to understand some concerns, some reservations, to respect in some areas, particularly disciplinary, why some scholars are more hesitant than others. They're the realities of academic publishing, of disciplinary advancement that we need to respect. My hope is that as we move forward, we can build a fuller community embrace of open access because it holds out such great possibilities for students and faculty alike.